"You're not welcome," my son emailed. 4 days later, he was begging me to return. I was folding laundry when the email came. It was a Thursday morning in October. The kind of October where the leaves haven't quite turned, but the air already smells like winter is standing right behind you. I had the TV on low, some morning show, the sound of people laughing at something I wasn't watching. My hands were busy with a fitted sheet, the kind you have to fold just right or it stays a lump forever. My grandmother taught me how to fold fitted sheets when I was 12. She said it was a skill that would serve me my whole life. She was right, but she never told me about the other things, the things you can't fold away. The phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. I didn't look at it right away. I was almost done with the sheet. Then it buzzed again, then again, 3 times in a row. That was unusual. My friends don't text like that. My sister doesn't text at all. So I knew it was one of my children. They are the only ones who expect me to drop everything and answer immediately. They learned that from me. I taught them that when you love someone, you are always available. That was my first mistake. Or maybe it was my 10th. I stopped counting a long time ago. I walked to the counter, picked up the phone, saw the email notification. From my son. The subject line was short. Just my name. Nothing else. No, hi, Mon. No, thinking of you. Just my name. Like I was a client or a stranger on the internet. I opened it. You are not welcome at the house anymore. Do not come for Thanksgiving. Do not come for Christmas. We need space from you. Please respect this. That was the whole email. No explanation. No, we love you, but. No, maybe someday. Just a door slamming in writing. I read it 3 times. The first time my brain didn't understand the words. The second time my chest got tight. The third time I sat down on the kitchen floor. Right there on the linoleum. The laundry forgotten on the couch. The morning show still laughing at something I would never find funny. I am 71 years old. I have raised 3 children. I have buried a husband. I have watched my best friend die of cancer in a hospital room that smelled like hand sanitizer and regret. I have been through things that would crack most people in half, but nothing prepared me for that email. Nothing in my entire life hurt the way those 12 words hurt. Let me back up. You need to understand how we got here. You need to understand what I did for that boy, for all of them. His name is Michael. He is my oldest, 43 years old, a father of 2, a husband to a woman named Paige who I never fully trusted, but I loved anyway because he loved her. That is what you do. You love the people your children love, even when something whispers in your gut that you shouldn't. Even when you see the way she looks at you like you are already dead and she is just waiting to collect. Michael was a difficult birth, 27 hours of labor. He came out blue and silent. The doctors took him away so fast I didn't get to hold him. I lay there on the hospital bed, bleeding and crying, while they worked on him in another room. My husband held my hand. He said, "He will be fine. He is a fighter." And he was. Michael survived. He thrived. He walked early, talked early, read at 4. He was my pride, my firstborn, the one who made me a mother. I poured everything into that boy. Every dollar, every hour, every prayer I didn't even believe in but whispered anyway. I worked double shifts at the diner so he could go to the good school. I drove him to soccer practice at 6 in the morning in the snow. I stayed up until midnight helping him with algebra, even though I hadn't taken algebra in 30 years. I taught myself so I could teach him. That is what mothers do. We learn things we never wanted to learn because our children need us to know them. When he got married, I gave them $20,000 for the down payment on their house. It was everything I had. My husband had just died the year before. The life insurance was gone. The savings were thin. But I wrote that check with a smile on my face because he was my son and she was my daughter-in-law, and they needed a home. They named their first daughter after me, Margaret, but they called her Maggie. That was fine. I didn't need the name. I just needed to be near them. For 10 years, I was the grandmother who showed up. Every birthday party, every school play, every soccer game. I never missed a thing. I drove 2 hours each way. I brought homemade cookies. I brought presents the kids actually wanted because I listened when they talked. I knew Maggie loved horses. I knew little James loved dinosaurs. I knew their favorite foods and their fears and the names of their stuffed animals. I was present, fully, completely, in a way my own mother never was for me. That was my gift to them. Presence. But presence is expensive. It costs time. It costs money. It costs sleep. And it costs your dignity when you realize they were just taking it, taking all of it, and giving nothing back. The cracks started small. So small I told myself I was imagining things. A phone call not returned, a text left unread, an invitation that came late like an afterthought. We are having a barbecue on Saturday if you want to come. If you want to come. Not, we would love to have you. Not, we saved a spot for you. Just, if you want to come. Like I was a neighbor they barely knew. I remember one Thanksgiving, 3 years ago now. I drove 2 hours with a roasted turkey and a pecan pie. The turkey was heavy. The pie was hot. I had wrapped everything in towels to keep it warm. I arrived at 1 o'clock like they asked. The door was locked. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again. Finally, Maggie opened the door.
She was 7 then. She said, "Grandma, we are watching a movie." I said, "That's okay, sweetheart. Can you get your dad?" She ran off. I stood there holding the turkey. The pie was starting to cool. 5 minutes later, Michael came to the door. He looked annoyed. He said, "Mom, we said 1. I said, "It is 1. He looked at his watch. His watch was wrong. He blamed me anyway. That was the first time I realized he was looking for reasons to be angry at me. Not because I had done anything wrong, but because anger is easier than gratitude. Gratitude requires admitting you owe someone something. Anger lets you pretend you don't. The next year I was invited again, but this time Paige asked me to bring potato salad instead of the turkey. She said, "We have the turkey covered." I said, "Okay." I made the potato salad from scratch. Red potatoes, fresh dill, a little bacon because Michael always loved bacon. I drove 2 hours. The potato salad was in a glass bowl covered with plastic wrap. When I arrived, no one was home. The door was unlocked, but the house was empty. I called Michael, no answer. I called Paige, no answer. I sat on their porch for 45 minutes like a lost dog. Finally, they pulled into the driveway. They had gone to get a table, a new table for the dining room. They said they lost track of time. Paige didn't apologize. Michael said, "You could have just left the potato salad on the porch." Left the potato salad on the porch, like I was a delivery driver. Like I was not his mother who had changed his diapers and paid for his school and held his hand when his father died. I should have said something then. I should have turned around and driven home and never come back. But I didn't, because I loved them, because I loved the children, because I kept believing that if I just gave a little more, they would finally see me, finally love me back the way I loved them. That is the trap. That is the oldest trap in the world. Thinking love is a transaction. Thinking if you put enough in, you will eventually get something out. 6 months before the email, my husband's brother died. His name was Frank. He was a good man. He had no children, no wife, just me and my children. Frank left everything to me. It wasn't a fortune, but it was something. $120,000, plus his house. A small house in a town about an hour from where I lived. The house needed work, but it was solid. Good bones. A big backyard. A porch that faced west so you could watch the sunset. I told Michael about the inheritance the day after the funeral. We were standing in Frank's kitchen. The counters were old, the refrigerator hummed too loud. Michael looked around and I could see him doing math in his head. He said, "What are you going to do with all this?" I said, "I don't know yet." He said, "You should sell the house." He said, "You don't need 2 houses." He said, "You could use the money to help us with the kids' school tuition." He said it so casually. Like my inheritance was his money. Like he had already spent it in his mind. I didn't say no. That was my second mistake. I said, "Let me think about it." I said, "I need some time." He said, "Okay, but don't take too long. The school year is coming up." He left. I stayed in Frank's kitchen for another hour, just standing there, looking at the dishes in the sink, the calendar on the wall, still turned to the wrong month. Frank had written things on that calendar. Dentist appointment, groceries, call the plumber. Small things, ordinary things. A life made of small, ordinary things. I wondered if anyone would write small, ordinary things on a calendar after I was gone. I wondered if my children would stand in my kitchen and talk about selling my house before my body was even cold. I decided to keep Frank's house, not to sell it, not to give the money to Michael. I decided to fix it up slowly, to make it mine,
to have a place that was just for me. I had spent my whole life in spaces that belonged to other people. My parents' house, my husband's house, the apartment I rented after he died that never felt like home. I wanted one thing, one piece of ground, one set of walls that I chose, that I paid for, that I would leave to my grandchildren when I died. Not to Michael, to Maggie and James, to the ones who still looked at me like I was a person and not a bank account. I told Michael my decision on a Tuesday, over the phone. He was quiet for a long time.
Then he said, "So you are just going to keep it?" I said, "Yes." He said, "What about the tuition?" I said, "I will help with what I can, but I can't give you the whole thing." He said, "Okay. Just okay." Then he said he had to go. Dinner was ready. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone. Something had changed. I could feel it. The way you feel a storm coming in your bones, the pressure dropping, the air going still. Over the next few months, Michael got distant, then cold, then cruel in small ways. He stopped calling. He stopped texting. When I called him, he would answer, but his voice was flat, like he was talking to a telemarketer. He stopped bringing the kids to see me. He said they were busy. He said Maggie had horseback riding. He said James had baseball. He said weekends were too full. I understood being busy. I had raised children. I knew what it was like. But I also knew that if you want to make time for someone, you do it. You just do it. He didn't want to. Paige got worse. She started posting things on social media. Vague things. Things about boundaries. Things about toxic family members. Things about cutting out people who don't respect your peace. I knew she was talking about me. I wasn't stupid. I just pretended I didn't see it. I kept scrolling. I kept smiling. I kept sending birthday cards with checks inside. I kept showing up, even though every time I showed up, I felt smaller, like they were slowly erasing me, like I was a drawing they were rubbing out, one line at a time. The week before the email, I called Michael to ask about Thanksgiving. I had already bought a turkey, a big one, 17 pounds. I had already started looking up recipes for new sides, something different, something special. I wanted to surprise them. I called him on a Sunday afternoon. He answered on the fourth ring. I said, "Hey, honey, I was thinking about Thanksgiving." He said, "What about it?" I said, "What time should I come?" He said, "I don't know yet." I said, "Okay, just let me know." He said, "Yeah." Then he hung up. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't say love you. He just hung up. I should have known then. I should have felt it coming. But I didn't. Or maybe I did, and I just didn't want to believe it. That is the thing about betrayal. It never looks like betrayal at first. It looks like a busy schedule. It looks like a bad connection. It looks like a tired voice. It looks like 100 small things you can explain away, until one day you can't. The email came on Thursday. I sat on my kitchen floor for an hour. Then I got up. I finished folding the laundry. I put the fitted sheet in the linen closet. I made myself a cup of coffee. I sat at the kitchen table and stared at the wall. I didn't cry. That came later. First came the numbness, the kind of numbness that feels like static, like the world has gone silent and you are floating in the middle of it with nothing to hold on to. I did not respond to the email. I did not call him. I did not text Paige. I did not post anything on social media. I just sat there. For 3 days, I sat there. I ate toast. I drank coffee. I watched the news. I watched the leaves fall. I watched the world keep moving while I stood completely still. On the fourth day, my phone rang. It was Michael. I let it go to voicemail. He called again. I let it go again. He called a third time. I answered. He was crying. I had not heard my son cry since he was 15 years old and his dog died. He was sobbing. He could barely talk. He said, "Mom, please." He said, "Mom, I am so sorry." He said Paige sent that email. He said I didn't know she was going to send it. He said I didn't know. He said, "Please come home." He said, "Please." He said the kids are asking for you. He said Maggie drew you a picture. He said James keeps asking when Grandma is coming.
He said, "Please, Mom, please." I listened. I did not say anything. I let him cry. I let him apologize. I let him explain. He said Paige had been in his ear for months, telling him I was manipulative, telling him I was trying to control them with money, telling him I only kept Frank's house to punish them. He said he was weak. He said he was tired. He said he just wanted peace in his own home. He said he didn't mean it. He said he loved me. He said, "Please." I wanted to believe him. God help me, I wanted to believe him. Every cell in my body wanted to get in the car and drive 2 hours and hold my son and tell him it was okay, that I forgave him.
That we could forget it ever happened. That is what mothers do. We forgive, we forget, we smooth things over, we make it better. We carry the weight so our children don't have to. But something had cracked in me, something that could not be unshattered. I thought about the email, those 12 words, typed by his wife maybe, but sent with his knowledge, approved by his silence. He could have stopped her. He could have said no. He could have picked up the phone and called me before she had sent. He didn't. He let it happen. He let his wife erase me. And now he was crying because he wanted me to fix it, because he wanted me to make the bad feelings go away, because that is what I had always done. I was the fixer. I was the one who made everything okay. I said, "I need time, Michael." He said, "Please don't." He said the kids. He said Maggie. He said James. He said they don't understand. He said they keep asking for you. He said you are breaking their hearts. He said you are breaking my heart. He said, "Mom, please." I said, "I will call you when I am ready." Then I hung up. The silence after that call was louder than anything I have ever heard. I sat in my kitchen. The coffee was cold. The afternoon light was fading. The leaves were still falling. I thought about all the years, all the sacrifices, all the times I went without so they could have, all the times I kept my mouth shut when I should have spoken, all the times I swallowed my pride and my anger and my hurt because I thought that was what love was supposed to look like. I thought about my own mother. She was not a warm woman. She was not a present woman. She was a woman who did what she had to do to survive and expected her children to do the same. I swore I would be different. I swore I would be the mother I never had. And I was. I was everything she wasn't. I was there. I showed up. I gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left of me. And now I was sitting alone in a small apartment with a cold cup of coffee and a son who only remembered I existed when he needed something, when he needed me to fix what his wife broke, when he needed me to make it better so he didn't have to feel guilty anymore. 4 days ago, he told me I was not welcome. Now he was begging me to return. That is the whiplash of being a mother. You are worthless until they need you. Then you are everything. Then you are worthless again. I did not go to Thanksgiving. I stayed home. I cooked the 17-pound turkey anyway. I made all the sides, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes, the green bean casserole, the cranberry sauce from scratch. I set the table for one. I poured a glass of wine. I ate in silence. I watched the news. The turkey was dry. I didn't care. Michael called me 3 times that day. I did not answer. He left voicemails, crying, apologizing, begging, then angry, then sad again, then desperate. He said Paige was sorry too. He said she wanted to apologize in person. He said the kids were crying. He said I was ruining Thanksgiving. He said I was being cruel. He said I was punishing them. He said a good mother would forgive. That word, good mother. I have spent my whole life trying to be a good mother. I have measured myself against that standard every single day for 43 years. And now my son was telling me that a good mother would forgive, a good mother would forget, a good mother would get in her car and drive 2 hours and pretend nothing happened so her grandchildren could have a happy Thanksgiving. But what about me? What about my happy Thanksgiving? What about my peace? What about my dignity? What about the part of me that died when I read those 12 words on a Thursday morning in October? Does that not count? Does that not matter? Am I only a mother? Am I not also a person? I am 71 years old. I do not have another 20 years to give to people who see me as an option. I do not have another 10 years to give to people who love me only when I am useful. I am tired. I am so tired. The kind of tired that sleep cannot fix. The kind of tired that lives in your bones. The kind of tired that comes from giving and giving and giving and never getting anything back. I did not go to Christmas either. Michael sent a text, a long one. He said Paige had left him. He said she took the kids. He said he was alone. He said he needed me. He said, please, Mom. He said, I have no one else.
He said, you are all I have left. I read that text in my kitchen. The same kitchen. The same counter. The same morning light. The same cold coffee. I read it and I felt something I had never felt before. Not anger. Not sadness. Not relief. Just a deep, quiet emptiness. Like a house after all the furniture has been removed. The echoes of what used to be there. The ghosts of all the conversations we never had. I did not respond to the text. I did not call him. I did not get in my car. I sat in my kitchen and I thought about Frank's house. The house I kept. The house I was fixing up. The house that was mine. I thought about the porch that faced west. I thought about watching the sunset. I thought about sitting in a chair that I chose. Drinking coffee from a mug that I bought. Living a life that I built for myself. Not for anyone else. I am still in the apartment. I haven't moved to the house yet. The renovations are slow. The contractor keeps finding problems. Old wiring, bad pipes, a roof that leaks. But I am not in a hurry. For the first time in my life, I am not in a hurry to get anywhere. I am not in a hurry to please anyone. I am not in a hurry to be needed or loved or appreciated. My phone rings less now. Michael stopped calling after I didn't answer the 6th time. My daughter calls sometimes. She lives across the country. She heard about what happened. She said, Mom, you did the right thing. She said I would have stopped talking to him years ago.
She is different from Michael. Harder. More like me in some ways. Less like me in others. She has her own family now. Her own life. She invites me to visit, but I always say, maybe next year. Maybe next year I will feel like traveling. Maybe next year I will feel like being around people again. Maggie sent me a letter, handwritten. She is 10 now. Her handwriting is big and uneven. She said, Grandma, I miss you. She said, Daddy is sad. She said, Mommy is gone. She said, please come back. She drew a picture at the bottom, a house, a sun, a stick figure that was supposed to be me. I put the letter in a drawer. I didn't know what else to do with it. I think about that letter sometimes. I think about Maggie. I think about James. I think about the grandchildren I might never see again. That is the part that hurts the most. Not Michael, not the email, not the betrayal. The grandchildren. The ones who didn't do anything wrong. The ones who are just collateral damage in a war they didn't start and don't understand. But I cannot go back, even for them. Because if I go back, I am telling Michael that what he did was okay. I am telling Paige that she can erase me and I will still come running. I am telling everyone that I am not a person. I am just a resource, a thing to be used and discarded and used again. I am 71 years old. I have buried a husband. I have watched a best friend die. I have worked jobs that broke my body. I have raised children who broke my heart. I have given everything I had to give and more, and now I have nothing left. Not for them, not for anyone. Just enough for myself. Just enough to get through the day. Just enough to sit in my kitchen and drink my coffee and watch the leaves fall. The phone rang yesterday, a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Michael. He was crying again. He said he was sorry. He said he was getting help. He said he was going to therapy. He said he understood why I couldn't talk to him. He said he would wait. He said he would always wait. He said he loved me. He said he was sorry. He said he was so sorry. I deleted the voicemail without listening to the end. I am not angry anymore. That is the strangest part. The anger left a long time ago. What is left is something quieter, something heavier, something that sits in my chest like a stone. It is not sadness exactly. It is not grief exactly. It is the knowledge that the people you love most in the world are capable of destroying you, and not because they are monsters, but because they are weak, because they are scared, because they are human. And being human means you will hurt the people who love you, not on purpose, but that doesn't make it hurt less. I still fold laundry. I still watch the morning show. I still drink coffee that gets cold because I forget to drink it while I am thinking about other things. Life goes on. That is the cruelest part of all. The world does not stop because your heart is broken.
The leaves still turn. The sun still sets. The phone still rings with people who want things from you. I am learning to say no. I am learning to say I need time. I am learning to say I cannot do that right now. I am learning that love is not the same thing as sacrifice, that you can love someone and still walk away, that you can love someone and still choose yourself. I am learning these things at 71 years old. Better late than never. Or maybe it is too late. Maybe I waited too long. Maybe I should have learned this 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Maybe I should have said no the first time Michael asked for money he didn't need. Maybe I should have said no the first time Paige looked at me like I was in the way. Maybe I should have kept Frank's house and not answered the phone and not shown up for Thanksgiving and not pretended that everything was fine when it was not fine, not even close to fine. But I didn't. I showed up. I always showed up. Until the day I couldn't anymore. Until the day they told me I was not welcome. And then I finally stopped showing up. Not because I wanted to, because I had to. Because if I showed up one more time, I would have lost myself completely. And I am old. I am tired. But I am still here. And I want to be here. For myself. For the first time in my life. Frank's house will be ready in the spring. The contractor says April. Maybe May. I am not in a hurry. I will pack my things slowly. The dishes. The linens. The framed photos of my children when they were small and still loved me without conditions. I will put them in boxes. I will label everything. I will drive to the new house on a quiet morning when the sun is just coming up. I will make coffee in a new kitchen. I will sit on the porch that faces west. I will watch the sunset. And I will not answer the phone. The phone will ring. Michael will call. My daughter will call. Paige might call. I don't know. I don't care. I will let it ring. I will let it go to voicemail. I will listen to the messages if I want to. I will delete them if I don't. I will be the one who decides, not them. Not anymore. I am not a bad mother. I am not a good mother. I am just a mother who ran out of things to give. A mother who finally understood that love is not a transaction, that you cannot buy someone's loyalty with your sacrifice, that you cannot earn someone's love by bleeding for them. I loved my son. I still love my son. But love is not enough. Love does not protect you from being hurt. Love does not keep you warm at night when you are alone. Love does not pay your bills, or fix your roof, or answer the phone when you are the one who needs to be heard. I needed to be heard, and no one was listening. So I stopped talking, and now they are all listening, and I have nothing left to say. The laundry is folded. The coffee is cold. The morning show is over. The leaves have all fallen. Winter is here, and I am sitting in my kitchen, waiting for spring.
Waiting for the house. Waiting for the porch. Waiting for the sun to set on something new. That is where I am now. That is where I will stay. Until I am ready to move again. Until I am ready to speak again. Until I am ready to love again. If that day ever comes. And if it doesn't, that is okay too.